Hi there, I'm Mike, and I go by the name of the Mad Maragan on Twitch. If you are a fan of looter shooter games like me, you would have had a great time in October and November playing and watching The Cycle Frontier during its closed beta 1. And now, here we are, in January of 2022, craving to drop onto Fortuna 3 again. I'm so excited for this game. I think it's got massive potential to be a hugely successful title for many years to come. I play both Escape from Tarkov on PC and Vigor on console, which share the high-stakes looter-shooter survival genre with The Cycle Frontier. I think The Cycle Frontier positions itself nicely into this genre, offering tension-filled games and repeat playability without being overly complex and having the steep learning curve of Tarkov. Like Vigor, The Cycle Frontier offers a similar experience that is much better suited to the casual player and even the Tarkov players that need a break from that game's brutality. So, whether you've played The Cycle Frontier during the previous beta test, or you just have an interest in this genre, stick around as I tell you everything we know about this new upcoming title. Let's get started with what we know about The Cycle Frontier's closed beta 1. I've compiled a list of information from a variety of sources, including recent interviews with the developers and social media posts. A NDA was initially in place, but the reception to Closed Beta 1 convinced the developers to lift the NDA. The response to Closed Beta 1 was what the developers were hoping to achieve with Closed Beta 2, and they were not expecting the higher server capacity demands. The high volume of players during Closed Beta 1 provided the developers with an opportunity to identify where infrastructure priorities existed and how to manage these priorities with feature implementations. The developers maximised the opportunity to watch streamers playing for live feedback and also to identify priorities. The developers identified a need for a variety of in-game experiences and directed player progression as a high priority. We also learned from the developers that there was a system in place to prevent spawn camping and spawns being too close together, but it wasn't working as intended in Closed Beta 1. Through the online survey that was available during Closed Beta 1, Yager Development received feedback to assist the game developers to better understand the player's experience and expectations. The addition of PvE dungeons was the number one requested feature. Fighting creatures, including a boss, for high tier loot, with the tension of encountering PvP on exit, is a feature that is being added to Crescent Falls. Movement speed feedback was received. The developers are considering the impact of a change and the challenges of synchronization with animation and sound effects. Personally, I felt the movement speed and mobility was great, but the impact of weight on stamina seemed a bit extreme. Requests for the addition of leaning movements from the player feedback are being discussed at length by the developers, and a post-match summary was a highly requested feature. The developers have indicated that a battle log feature has been added for Closed Beta 2 and will include damage information, engagement details, and career statistics. Request for a spectate mode after death is not a short-term objective, but it is in discussion. It is not expected to be included for the game's full release. A kill cam is not part of the game's roadmap, but the developers are interested in community feedback regarding this feature. I personally would prefer this feature not be included whilst teammates are still alive, as I feel it can be exploited to give teammates detailed information during an engagement. With the reimagining of the Cycle game from being a Battle Royale style game into a high stakes looter-shooter survival game, I'm impressed by the developers' clear vision for the experience that they are trying to create in the Cycle Frontier. Let's take a look at what we know about that vision. An identity crisis for the Cycle meant the developers felt a need to pivot to a game with a greater player retention and repeat playability. The developers have explained that the Cycle Frontier is now closer to the high-stakes game that was initially pitched. The developers' vision is to create immersive and evolving experiences full of tension and drama, with an emphasis on risk-reward where each drop is influenced by players and events. The developers are aiming to create the feeling that you are never totally safe, and that any moment the experience can change, with tension always being part of that experience. The developers aim to create a game that is both fun to play and to watch. The addition of emergent events to redirect the player's attention is something the developers want to incorporate. The arrival of a large mining or drilling ship being called in by high-ranked players has been hinted, with more events like the meteor shower planned as well. If you're like me, you'll be anxiously waiting for the next opportunity to drop into Fortuna 3. Here is what we know about Closed Beta 2. The Closed Beta 2 is targeted to launch late in Q1 2022, which is sometime in March. All Closed Beta 1 participants will have access to Closed Beta 2. Additional keys will also be issued. The developers have identified that incorporating anti-cheat technologies are a high priority for Closed Beta 2, including integration with BattleEye and easy anti-cheat third-party solutions. The developers have indicated that a big focus of development leading into Closed Beta 2 has been audio changes. Prior to the launch of Closed Beta 2, the Player Council are completing testing. Following the completion of Closed Beta 2, the developers expect to conduct an open beta before the full release of the game later in 2022. Lots of changes have already taken place since Closed Beta 1. Let's explore what we know about these changes so far. The developers are conducting map redesign for Bright Sands and Crescent Falls to improve routing. Crescent Falls is receiving a big rework, including changes to inaccessible areas and routes. The developers say their objective is to create beautiful but hostile worlds. The development of new maps like the Lagoon are to encourage highly geared PvP engagements. The Lagoon map is not expected for Closed Beta 2. Changes are being made to maps for specific resources and maps suited to stages of player campaign progression. Future maps for post-release consideration to include close quarters interiors and potentially cave descension requiring flashlights. The developers envisage high-tier gear requirements and have made reference to Escape from Tarkov's Labs map for inspiration. A revised crashed ship location is in testing with a larger ship than the one featured in Closed Beta 1. Let's take a look at the new crash ship location from a focus test with a video courtesy,
as you can see in this
of
clip,
Merrill.
This is actually the new crashed ship location. On the previous map, crashed ship was in a cave and it was basically just the size of a normal dropship that you get off the planet on. But this remade version is huge, and there's a big area in there. You can even see a Jeff hiding inside. Honestly, a really cool change. And you could see that little lake as you first walked in. This ship is massive. It looks like a shuttle maybe. Another one of the map changes is a lot of locations have been made easier to get to and from. And I know that was something that the community asked for.
Thanks to Jordan for allowing me to share that sneak preview video. Be sure to check out Jordan Merrill on both YouTube and Twitch. I've included links to his channel in the description below. In Closed Beta 2, we can expect to see a number of changes to the creatures. New elite variants, including the Strider, Rattler and Marauder creatures, will be introduced in Closed Beta 2 to fill the gap of creature difficulty. We can expect to see changes to the Rattler creature, which is now more aggressive with sharper movements. Developers have made changes to the distribution of creature types to reflect the difficulty of an area and the rarity of lootable items in that area. We have heard that creatures from previous The Cycle iteration are being reviewed. The Grubbling, Ravager, Spitter, Stinger and Howler and other assets are available for consideration for future inclusions. The developers have also hinted at the possibility that the droids from the previous The Cycle iteration will be included in the future as armed AI enemies that would have lootable gear. That wraps up everything we know about the creatures. We can see that this variant of the Strider is easily identified by the purple and blue colouring. And here is an image of a droid that featured in the old The Cycle game. I get excited by the possibilities that new tools and consumables could bring to the prospecting experience in the Cycle Frontier. One of the reasons why I'm predicting that the Cycle Frontier will be a great success is that I can see the game catering to a variety of different gameplay styles. For players who aren't PvP focused, the addition of new tools could bring new experiences to prospecting. Imagine the excitement and tension of dropping onto Fortuna 3 with a high tier tool to extract prized minerals, and then rushing to an extraction point to take that loot back to Prospect Station. Let's go over what we know about the new tools and consumables that are planned or being considered for the Cycle Frontier. Binoculars and flashlights are new additions coming in Closed Beta 2, including a flashlight built into the mining scanner. A variety of stims are being considered for improved stamina, jumping boosts, etc. Tools for storm protection are currently being prototyped, and a defoaming consumable to revive teammates is currently under consideration. Keycards will now have durability, and lockable doors will shut as loot in the locked area respawns. A laser drill that is called in using a beacon is returning, having previously featured in the last iteration of the cycle. This item can be acquired by barter at the Quick Shop. Let's take a look at a few screenshots I've been able to obtain. Here's the scanner flashlight. We can see a flashlight equipped to the mining scanner, which looks to be bound to the Q button. Check out this image of an orbital laser drill that appeared in the previous version of the cycle. Can you imagine calling this down to mine some rare materials and attracting creatures and players from across the map to your location? And here is an image from a previous version of the cycle that shows the gas refiner. I haven't heard any rumours about its inclusion, but I thought I'd just mention it as an example of the sorts of tools we could see added in the future. The developers definitely have some assets available to make player experiences evolve with that tension, the risk and reward that is part of their vision. I'm excited to see how the tools and consumables in the Cycle Frontier evolve over time. If PvP or PvE gameplay is what you are looking for in the Cycle Frontier, then you'll be interested to hear about some of the weapon changes that are rumoured for Closed Beta 2 and beyond. Weapons will only be available for purchase with K-marks. The developers are reviewing the weapons costs and have indicated that they have no plans for crafting weapons with materials. More gun attachments are planned for Closed Beta 2, including a red dot, holographic, 2x, 2 to 4x variable, and 6 or 8x scopes for DMR and sniper rifles. Let's take a look at a sneak preview supplied by TheSunOfMorning, which showcases the work in progress on scopes from the recent focus test.
The red dot, holographic, 2x, 4x, the 2 4x variable scope, the 6x, and the 8x scope. The 6 and the 8x can only be placed on DMRs and sniper rifles, so just sort of keep that in mind. You cannot have a PDW with an 8x scope, as much as that would be really fun to see. During the focus test, the optics were still a pretty heavy work in progress. I like the direction that Yager is going with this.
Like me, you may have noticed that the view through the inner tube of these scopes looked a little small. One of the developers, known as Skinky on Twitter or the Peasant on Discord, recently posted a photo of a Photoshop picture which addressed this issue and shows off what the developers are working towards. We can see a much cleaner optic and a blurred image outside of the scope that draws the eye to the scope. Gun skins are being introduced in Closed Beta 2. If a player picks up a downed player's gun, it retains the equipped skin. Gun charms are also under development. Let's take a look at the TheSunOfMorning sneak preview for the weapon cosmetics.
Weapon cosmetics. This is simple and easy to understand. You get a skin and you place it on your weapon. Weapon cosmetics also include weapon charms that you're going to be able to put. Here's where things get really cool though. Let's say you kill a player and they have a special skin on their weapon. If you were to pick up that weapon, it will have the skin they placed on it. It's a small detail, but one that I think is really, really cool, and I really look forward to seeing all the different skins that they are going to come out with for all their weapons.
Thanks to TheSunOfMorning for allowing me to share that video with you. I'll include links to his Twitch and YouTube channels in the description below, so be sure to check him out. Here's a video that a developer named Merrill shared on Discord recently, which shows off a huge amount of gun skins and charms. As you can see, the weapons and art department have been very busy. The developers have hinted that a new legendary weapon will be introduced in Closed Beta 2. The developers are balancing weapons and reviewing their ballistics, ergonomics, recoil patterns, animations and sounds. Weapon statistics are now available and include accuracy, stability, damage per second, and range information. There's an example there you can see for the AR-55 auto rifle. Let's run through some of the gun balancing changes that we know about so far. Korolev's heavy assault rifle, the Core 47, has had its damage reduced by 2 points, and now has a damage value of 12. It appears to have also had its rate of fire reduced too. The popular S76 PDW semi-machine gun by Kotek has had its damage increased by 1 point, and now has a damage value of 10. Osiris's Flechette assault rifle, the Manticore, has had its magazine capacity increased by 2 rounds and now has a capacity of 25 rounds. ICA's light machine gun, the Guarantee, now has its damage reduced by 2 points and has a damage value of 10 points. ICA's Advocate assault rifle has had a considerable change to its damage value with a reduction of 5 points, and it now has a damage value of 8 points. But it's worth noting that this gun has a high penetration value of 25. Last Saiyan Prince, who has tested the Advocate in a recent focus test, said, "This gun felt incredible this test. Don't let the stats fool you. This thing is nasty." Kotek's AR-55 phase auto rifle has had its damage increased by 2 points to a damage value of 12, and has also had its magazine capacity reduced by 6 rounds for a total capacity of 18 rounds. Kotek's popular C32 bolt-action sniper rifle has had its penetration value reduced by 5 points, and the gun now has a penetration value of 10. The optic has also been removed from the gun, which now comes standard with iron sights only. The K28 semi-automatic pistol from Kotek has had its damage reduced by 6 points and now has a damage value of 12 points. Thanks to Last Saiyan Prince for the detail on these weapons balancing changes. I'll put the links to his Twitch channel and his YouTube channel called Midlife Crisis in the video description. Be sure to go and show him some support. Please keep in mind though that all of the changes we've discussed are a work in progress and may change further before the release of Closed Beta 2. Contracts have now been renamed to jobs and are smaller quests for each faction, like the Closed Beta 1 experience. New faction campaigns are 5 mission objectives to complete and are intended to direct players to various areas of the map as part of their character progression. The completion of campaigns will reward items and unlocks the ability for the player to purchase specific items from that faction. Campaigns, or mission lines, known by the developers as an IMA, in-match activities, were the number 2 requested feature in the closed beta 1 feedback. Developers are considering more incentives to survive the storm, along with the addition of jobs that need to be completed during the storm. Character progression to evolve prospecting methods, with players starting off with a pickaxe and progressing to automated prospecting tools, are currently under consideration. Here is a sneak preview of the campaigns and job menus at the lobby, courtesy of TheSunOfMorning. The developers are conducting a balancing review of all resources, including changes to item rarity. Examples such as smart mesh and copper wire requirements and rarity were identified in closed beta 1. Ammunition and medical consumables will most likely be reduced in weight. Consideration is being made to weight changes across all items, but the developers feel like item weight is generally on the right track. The developers also confirmed that time and player presence determines the refresh of loot. However, timing is critical, as lootable areas can also be used to indicate the presence of other players. More lootable items are rumoured to be introduced, along with a variety of helmets that include benefits like armour. Let's take a look at some other changes to the in-game experience we can expect to see in closed beta 2. Changes have been made to the in-game inventory layout. The safe pocket and weapons have been moved to the bottom of their columns, as we can see in this screenshot. When picking up loot, the player's weight is now displayed next to the item icon on the player's HUD. Sound traps have also been included, so when a player disturbs a flock of birds, they fly around the player, making noise and alerting other players to their location. The developers are exploring automatic detection of a player being stuck in the map to teleport them out of that position and issue a bug report to the developers. Hit feedback has now been improved. Coloured hit markers indicate enemy armour level during engagements. Let's check out Last Saiyan's prints and his sneak preview showcasing the coloured hit markers.
Next, we're going to show some tier armor hit markers. You can see here by the blue marker that I can tell he has blue tier armor on. There we go. Hit markers blue, hit markers blue, hit markers blue. We're going to do the same thing here, but with purple tier. See here when I shoot him? Purple hit markers. Some more purple hit markers.
Now let's look at what we know about the Cycle Frontiers Season Pass. The first season is expected to launch with the full release of the game later in 2022. Each season is expected to have a duration of about 3 months. Season Pass is expected to also include free tier rewards, and the Season Pass rewards will likely include cosmetics, banners, weapon skins, charms, and maybe gear. Seasonal wipes will be introduced to ensure that all players compete at the same level at the season start, and seasonal wipes will not reset cosmetics. Different development teams are expected to contribute something to each season. Example, the creatures, activities, maps, and weapons development teams. The developers have made the commitment that none of the game's mechanics are to be impacted by monetization. They want to avoid a pay-to-win model, and will test acceptance of all monetization strategies with their player council. The developers indicated that a core aspect of their monetization strategy is that the Aurum can be generated in the player's quarters to allow all players to utilise both the hard and soft currency. The Aurum currency will be used for cosmetic purchases and will also be available to skip crafting and upgrading timers. Ensuring that all players are on an equal competitive footing is a guiding principle of the development team. Inventory sorting options are now included for closed beta 2. You can sort by rarity, quantity, alphabetical order, or item type. There's potential for mini-games and activities to be added to Prospect Station to make it livelier. These ideas are in discussion, but not in active development. The developers have indicated that tech is being discussed to have squad mates join each other in the same lobby after a raid. A flea market or player trading system is not likely to be included. The developers have indicated that their vision for the game is that prospecting is the only means of acquiring loot. The developers have indicated that solo, duos, and teams larger than trios are unlikely to feature in the game. The tension and drama of engaging an unknown team size is actually by design. A commonly requested feature is the ability to invite teammates to your quarters. This is something the developers are considering for the future. The developers are also discussing how to possibly incorporate clans in the future. Clan quarters and clan-based objectives are topics of discussion. The core game experience is not designed to be about leaderboard grinding, but the developers are aware that this is a feature that appeals to some players, so finding the right way to introduce this is something that they will explore in the future. Currently, there is no reputation or penalty system for supporting any particular faction, but something that the developers will also discuss in the future. The faction stories will be enhanced by mission objectives with additional voice lines. Collectibles, titles, and other achievements are ideas the developers recognise are also for future consideration. Console compatibility for the Cycle Frontier is not yet in development, but it is something that is planned after the PC release. Crossplay is also planned for the future. There are no plans for Linux or Mac compatibility at this time. The developers are committed to supporting the game long into the future, with the intention of seeing the game evolving over time. The developers have no plans to incorporate the Battle Royale mode from the old game or an arena style mode into the new game, but long-term plans may change. Assets from the previous The Cycle iteration are to be considered for inclusion in the Cycle Frontier. Some weapons will be reviewed for suitability in the new game experience, but if they don't fit the new theme, they will not be incorporated. The hoverbike in the previous game iteration was used to travel across the map quickly for contract objectives. Due to the difference with the current game experience, it may not be suitable to be included in the Cycle Frontier. The firing range from the previous version of the Cycle may possibly make a comeback in the future. And character customization and vanity options are also being reviewed to see if they fit the tone of the new game. We have also learned that matchmaking is based on median value of the extracted loot during the player's prospecting career. This enables a mix of player styles in each game instance. It is calculated on the difference between the starting value and the extraction value from each game instance. This is known internally as the MDR rating. Yager Development currently consists of 80 staff, and they are based out of Berlin in Germany. Discord is the resource that the developers encourage players to use for additional feedback and community engagement. You might also want to check out the Life of Fortuna 3 show on Twitch, hosted by the influencing marketing manager Straticus. Each show contains highlight clips from community content creators. I'll drop the links to the Discord server and the Twitch channel in the video description as well. Now, please remember that the information presented in this video has not been verified by Yager Development, but is simply based on my interpretation of what the developers have said in their interviews. Also, keep in mind that the game is currently a work in progress and may have changed since recording this video. I want to say a big thank you to several people who have been creating content for the Cycle Frontier and whose videos I've used as a reference when creating this video. Shoutouts to Geach, Markstrom TV, Cotton, Deadly Slob, Sergeant Wolfie and Invicta. And again, I need to say a huge thank you to Jordan Merrill, TheSunOfMorning and Last Saiyan Prince for allowing me to include screenshots and videos from their YouTube channels in this video. These three guys are great dudes with enormous passion for the Cycle Frontier. I highly recommend that you follow them on Twitch and subscribe to their channel on YouTube for more great The Cycle Frontier content. And a massive thanks to Yager Development for their incredible work so far on the Cycle Frontier. I don't think I've ever been this excited for the release of a new title. Remember, check out the links in the video description for the creators I've just mentioned. Well, that's it for me. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, and if you want to see more videos for the Cycle Frontier and keep up with all the latest news and rumours, then hit the subscribe button too. Come and hang out with me when I'm live on Twitch. I play a lot of variety, including Escape from Tarkov, DayZ, Apex Legends, Squad, 0 Hour, PUBG, Sea of Thieves, and Star Citizen. If you're a console player and want to get into this genre, then visit my channel when I'm playing Vigor. It's a free-to-play looter shooter survival game, and as a Vigor partner, I often do Battle Pass giveaways. You can also hit up my social media accounts. I'm on Discord, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Hover, and Fanhouse. I regularly post highlight clips on these platforms, and I announce whenever I'm live on Twitch or post a new video to YouTube. If you're a content creator yourself, come and get involved with my community. We have a great bunch of people with good vibes just wanting to network and grow the community together. One thing I can guarantee you is that you'll most definitely have a fun time. There are shenanigans that happen in my Twitch channel that might really surprise you, but you'll need to come and visit the channel to find out more about that. I'll post all the links you need in the video description. You can also visit my website at themadmaragan.live to find all my content. Thanks for watching this video. I hope to see you on Fortuna 3 really soon.